Hello and welcome everyone. This is Dr. Matthew once again, and I'm very excited that you're joining me this evening because tonight we're going to discuss how to decrease your blood pressure naturally. And yes, it's possible, but I want to give you some tips and strategies that you can implement today because millions of Americans have high blood pressure. And there's only very few causes: physical, chemical, or emotional stress. Now, we're going to go into those just a little bit, but of course, let's go into emotional stress first. And everyone's been around a very toxic mental environment, so to speak. Maybe it's family, maybe it's friends. You get stressed out at work because you have deadlines. You wake up to your alarm clock, and then ultimately your sympathetic nervous system is firing. You're in traffic here in Atlanta, and you're going crazy because you're having to watch out for these guys that are just nuts. They don't know how to drive. So what that does is that elevates the sympathetic nervous system's function. So all of a sudden, you're in that fight or flight emotion in that mode, so now you breathe very, very shallowly. One of the things that you can do to help reduce blood pressure on your own is to periodically get outside 3 to 5 times every single day and take deep breaths through your stomach. Expand your lungs and exhale through your mouth. Do that for a series of several minutes, and you will start to feel more relaxed. That's going to help oxygenate your body, so your heart has to pump less to get the oxygen to every single cell within the body. You can also give yourself a mini carotid artery massage. That's going to help reduce the blood pressure just a little bit naturally as well. Now, let's talk about diet just a little bit. And here in America, the standard American diet is very, very inflammatory. There's a lot of processed foods, refined grains, trans fats, you name it within the actual food themselves. You can barely classify anything that we consume now here in America that's been commercialized as food because it doesn't nourish your body. It only creates inflammation, whether it's the refined grains that you eat. The reason why they call them refined is because the outer coating of the sugar or the starch has been completely stripped of the nutrient value, of the mineral value, and even that's part of the reason why we have a major constipation epidemic, why many people have digestive disturbances and problems, is because things can't readily pass through the digestive system because it gets stuck, because these grains do not have the proper nutrients and minerals necessary to pass it through the entire gut. So that's something to consider when you're trying to decrease your blood pressure too. And what I recommend, when you go get your lab values checked at your medical doctor's office, see where they are, see where your cholesterol is, get a complete blood count. He's going to check your blood pressure, of course, and then monitor it. And before you even think about going on any type of high blood pressure lowering medication, it's always best to do diet, psychological stress, relaxation relief, and also from a physical standpoint. Many times these problems can be resolved naturally. It's just we've been indoctrinated into a system that fuels that dependency. So we think we have to go to the medical doctor every 2 seconds. And these commercials and this system has really created a country of hypochondriacs. So again, try and empower yourself. Now, there is a time and place if somebody has crisis blood pressure situation, it's over 180 or whatever the cases may be. Absolutely go see your medical doctor. Go to the emergency room. There's nothing wrong with that. And even if you need to be on some type of medication just for the short term until you get it back under control, that's something that you need to discuss with your medical doctor. However, I want to give you hope, first of all, that you can reduce your blood pressure naturally. You can get off the medications that you're on. And ultimately, it's applying tips and strategies that we're talking about right now. Go on raw fruits and vegetables for 2 weeks. That may seem very difficult for many people, but that's going to help reduce the inflammation naturally in your body. Make sure they're organic if you can get them. Make sure they're locally grown produce if you can get them. You're going to find a lot of those at your farmer's market. It's a simple thing that you can do. I'm a big fan, and really throughout the literature has supported fasting, whether it's water fasting, whether it's juice fasting for an extended period of time. That's a great, inexpensive way to decrease inflammation in your body naturally. And we know that inflammation is the cause of most conditions, really. They start at a subclinically inflammatory level, and there was a major article published in Time magazine several years ago talking about inflammation as being the culprit of your things like cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and blood pressure typically precedes many of those. So Very important to note, very important to understand, but fasting is a phenomenal way. It's been around for thousands of years, and there's a, there might be a reason why that your major avatars, you can go back to any ancient book you want, they all speak about fasting, not just from a mental clarity perspective, but also from a health perspective. So I encourage you, there are several books out there. You can find Herbert Shelton, you can find Paul Bragg. If you're local in the Atlanta area, I'd love to see you in my office. Stop by, say hello. I put together individual detoxification protocols for people that are looking to optimize their health, and we're very specific with what we do, individual optimized profiles, because everyone expresses a degree of what we call biochemical individuality. That just means that two people are not the same, and you have to address that at a subatomic and molecular level. So hope you get a lot out of this tutorial so far from a decrease in the blood pressure perspective. And again, as far as supplements are concerned, you do have supplements that you can incorporate that help reduce inflammation in your body naturally. Many things like your digestive enzymes, turmeric, rosemary, things of that nature will help decrease inflammation within the body. And there are numerous other ones. Even fish oils have been proven to decrease inflammation. If you have an imbalance of your omega-6 and your omega-3 ratio, that actually leads to more inflammatory state within the body. You're going to find an imbalance in those ratios, especially in processed grains, ultimately conventional cattle, because they are fed grain, which elevates that omega-6 ratio. So be cognizant of what you're putting in your body. And again, if you're really looking for some solid information, I'm certain that you're going to enjoy my book, Cracking the Cancer Code, as I go ahead and delve into more of the nutritional aspects of how to maintain your health, and ultimately the psychological aspects too, because health is not just one thing. Health has to comprise the entire individual, the physical, the chemical, and the emotional, and the spiritual. That's called a holistic approach. And there is no one magic solution typically for many of the problems that we faced here in America today. So again, I want you to